जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I'm laughing and you all will know why very soon. We're into the final week of the league stage. There's that traffic jam at the Western Express Highway hasn't moved in a week because 9 teams can still make it to the playoffs. I have a little complaint before I start. You know, when I joined Cricbuzz, my producers, directors and all the kind people here said, if you know your cricket, you'll be good. No one gave me this warning of maths because Mr. Joy Bhattacharya uses calculus, these combinations, permutations, and my head hurts every time I go home. But today I've got 2 professors in the house who are going to give me a crash course on these numbers, our residential net run rate experts, Professor Simon Doull and Professor Harsha Bhogle. Welcome to the show. Harsha has put on his acting cap because he is pretending like
and
he has to really study.
I thought this is like method acting and all. I thought in front of an actor I must also...
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
How are you?
Very well, Simon.
Excellent.
So good to see you. I got a gift from Simon today. So day started off very well. I got some yummy chocolate that he's got.
Was it for you?
Yeah.
I just had a little bit. I thought it was for everybody.
It is. I'm going to share it with everyone, but very kind of Simon to come.
Oh. And I've known Simon for so long. He knows of my love for that particular brand. I thought he's brought it for me.
I bought it for everybody, but
got it
was
for
just that Saiyami was here first, so I gave it to her.
It's a terrible comeback line.
Sorry.
Well, everyone is going to take a slice of the chocolate, but not at the points table because the points table is completely jam-packed. And now I'm going to give the next 4 minutes for this crash course to Mr. Professor Harsha Bhogle and Professor Simon Doull.
I'll tell you the easiest way to look at the table. Easiest way. Just enjoy every single game and take the outcome and then see what happens.
But what happens to the hardcore supporters of wanting to know what happens to each team?
I'll put it this way, okay? If your father's brother's son's cousin's nephew marries your mother's sister's niece's auntie, you're somehow related, and 9 teams can still get through.
Oh, okay.
You could still get through on 14.
Look, 14 gets through, 15 gets through.
You could get 16 and not get through.
16 and maybe not.
You could get through. You can be 14 and still get through. 6 teams get on 14 and the top net run rate goes through. 3 teams on 16 and the 2 bottom go out. But the result that has thrown the cat among the pigeons completely for everybody is what Rajasthan Royals did yesterday.
Yep, it just completely added to the chaos. It was like a car stalling on the express highway where there's already too much traffic.
And suddenly RCB find themselves in this position where they control their destiny. Because their net run rate, if you look at the table again, their net run rate was minus 0.6 or something like that. You know, it was languishing. And suddenly their net run rate is now plus. So now look what happened. Suppose Mumbai win 1, lose 1, and RCB win both. They're both on 16. Who goes through? RCB are plus 0.17, Mumbai are minus 0.12.
Depending on the magnitude of the wins and losses. But you're so right. It's such a... I mean, I still feel Chennai sit in a very good spot.
Yes.
With that rain-out game. And it might sound silly, but because they're below Gujarat still. But that 15 points, I think, is quite crucial. Because that one little point from the rain-out game, I think, is going to be to their benefit at the back end of the tournament.
I mean, they could turn around and say, if it not for the rain, we would have been 16 already. We would have gone through to 18. But you're right, that 1-pointer has, I think, also kept Lucknow in the race because that day they look like they may not get that. They may not get that 1-pointer. Yeah. So that's what it's done. I mean, yesterday Pommy was sitting here.
That video has gone viral. It's gone viral.
And it said 109 and he laughed his head off. So I'm actually thinking, should we call up Pommy and say, Pommy, could this result be this?
But doesn't that just show you that this tournament is so crazy? And this year has been so mad with results, with scores, with 200 plus, with 200s chased down, 100 scored and losing causes again. And anybody can beat anybody. And that is the key. And if you have one bad day, they will jump all over you. And Rajasthan had a bad day. Bangalore had a really good day. And it was just a pummeling in the end.
You know, we just have a quick look at the fixtures of who plays who next. and then again you all can explain the scenarios to me a little better, because these are the remaining teams. A lot depends also on day 21. I mean, the 21st of May, it can go up to that day, couldn't it?
Well, it will come down to that Bangalore-Gujarat game. I mean, it's no-brainer. That will guaranteed decide somewhere, some way, somehow, either a 1 and 2 finish, who qualifies. You know, there is no doubt in my mind that game will tell us the Final Four and the shape of the Final Four one way or another, Hush. Everything that goes on between that, teams just have to keep winning, and other teams have to rely. I came back on a flight with Venki this morning, and you know
He's doing his numbers.
Yeah, he was doing it. He said there is a scenario where we can get through with 14. I'm like, okay, mate, all right, okay. I mean, and I like him. I love the way they operate, but I was just, I don't know whether I can believe that.
In my first year in management school, I spent more time thinking how I could survive rather than actually studying to survive.
Correct.
And so you can find that the players of the people who are studying the points table are the people who don't actually have any influence on the points table. Where the guys who are playing are saying, hang on, what is in our hands? In our hands is to win. Now that 21st you talked about, if Sunrisers start to play party poopers from here on, then if the Sunrisers have, if Sunrisers have beaten Bangalore, I think there's a Hyderabad-Bangalore game on the 18th. If Sunrisers win that game, then Bangalore are virtually gone, because the best they can do is get to 14. And
But
that may
net
not
run
be
rate
enough.
won't-
That may not be enough. At that point, we will know.
Okay.
There is a Mumbai-Hyderabad game that day. That would a lot would depend on whether Mumbai have beaten Lucknow. That Lucknow-Mumbai game is huge from that qualification point of view, because whoever wins that game will start to breathe a little better. I know Lucknow will still get stuck on 15, but they could breathe a little better, because there could be a lot of teams stuck on 14. So today is not such a big game for Gujarat. If they win, they guarantee themselves first or second, which is important. But for Hyderabad, if they lose, then
It's,
Yeah, then they're done, I think. And
So,
that's
you said we have to depend on the 21st of May to see who qualifies, but because we have professors and people who can see the future, we'll quickly ask them who their top 4 looks like as of now.
What did I say last week? I'm trying to remember what I said last week.
pull out the V2.
I know, can we rewind the tape and tell me what I said last? Because I'll say something completely different now. People will go, that's not what you said last week. I'm pretty sure I said Gujarat and Chennai. I definitely had Gujarat and Chennai there. I don't think I had Mumbai there. And I did have Rajasthan, but that's looking awful after yesterday.
3 of my 4 original teams are still looking good, and that's Gujarat, MI, RCB. I have this inkling about LSG. I don't know why. They've actually done pretty well to get to 13 points.
Yeah.
But I just wonder about LSG a little bit. I'm not writing them off, but I think they look a little vulnerable among the other teams. So at this stage, if you ask me, I'm going Gujarat, Chennai, Mumbai, RCB.
All right.
But Mumbai can get stuck on a slow track in Lucknow, and that could be their Achilles heel.
Well, enough of the maths, because it gives me a headache. Enough of these combinations. Let's look at what's happening today, because Gujarat plays Hyderabad. Hyderabad have won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. So at least they've gotten off to a winning start, which is a good thing. Something I want to start talking about is because I really like Hardik Pandya, the captain, of course the player, but Hardik Pandya, the captain, the other day said that, there was only one person who came to the party. This is what he said. It felt like from our team, only he, Rashid, turned up. As a group, overall, in all departments, we were not there. In bowling as well, I felt that we were very flat. We didn't have clear plans, or our bowlers did not execute. We were quite flat. Intensity-wise, and at the same time, we expected things to happen. But everyone knows at this level, it doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. So Hardik, whenever he chats with you all at the post-match presentations, he starts his interview with, to be very honest. And he's been very honest here.
To be very honest, yes.
But a lot of people start the conversation like that, to be very honest, and then start lying. He doesn't. He does. I mean, politicians mostly. But he doesn't. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. And they didn't turn up. Barring Rashid, they didn't turn up. And that can happen. But it doesn't happen too often to that team. And so they will have gone back. And they're not a team, I don't think, Harsh, that over-dissect either. I don't think they spend hours and hours going over that and worrying about it. They just they say, okay, we didn't front up. You know, Rashid did, we didn't. We need to be better. How do we be better next game? And then let's get on with it. I don't think they spend hours and hours in a dark room, you know, going over bits of paper and worrying about what happened too much.
If Mumbai gets stuck on 16 and RCB go through, then RCB should send a little chocolate of the kind that Dooley's brought to Rashid Khan. Because without that Rashid Khan innings, MI's net run rate is looking completely different from what it is now. But it also tells you the kind of player that they have. I mean, you speak to Rashid Khan, you see him on the field. He's always running around. It's almost like he's just generating energy. Because he never seems to run short. He's a fabulous player to watch. But that line that you heard from Hardik is a line you'll hear from Guardiola, is a line you'll hear from Ten Hag, is a line you'll hear from Pochettino. You'll hear from all the great players. When you're playing a long tournament, there is one day when you will be flat.
You know, there is something about Gujarat which is very similar to CSK, is that they don't like to change things around. You see that it's that same copy-paste format that they go with. But today is a surprise.
In the gharana, in the music gharana, when you learn from the master, you sing like the master. Hardik Pandya has learned from the Dhoni gharana.
Yes.
So he will not change his teams very much.
Yeah, well, the news is that Sai Sudarshan is in because Vijay Shankar got hit with the ball while he was practicing. So that was, well, a forced change. We will have a look at the teams when our producers are ready with the teams.
It also reminds us, doesn't it, again, Dooley, that ball is a very hard object. Yeah. Sometimes we forget when we see players catch the ball in those funny. We don't realize how hard it is.
I worry about people in the grandstands.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was someone with a helmet in the stand.
Yeah, and rightly so. The power of these players, the modern day players now, and the amount of times the ball is being hit into the grandstands. And you know what it's like? You go places with your friends and you're having a chat, and all of a sudden you're just the wrong side of it. I worry about that more than I worry about the players getting injured. But so let's hope that stays the same. And
even the car got a dent the other day. I don't know who hit it, but there was.
But the side effect of that is, I think Hardik Pandya bats in a better position because Sai Sudarshan will bat 3, then Hardik can bat 4, which I think is a better position for him than number 3. Yeah.
So these are the changes, not just one. So
Shanaka's playing.
Shanaka's in.
Ah.
So he makes his debut. Yash Dayal is back as well.
Good on him.
Okay.
So that's going to be good to see.
He'll be in the bowling.
Yes.
So what overseas have they left out there then to bring Shanaka in? I'm just having a look. They've only got 3 overseas in.
No, 4. Rashid and Noor.
Oh, Rashid and Noor, sorry. Dasun Shanaka. Oh, the quick bowler. They either had Alzari Joseph.
They're Little or Alzari.
Little's in England at the moment. They had Alzari Joseph, didn't they? So they've gone with a batting all-rounder, Dasun Shanaka. I mean, medium pacer, useful. But they've got enough pace, haven't they, in Shami, Sharma and Hardik. Then a little bit of Shanaka, perhaps, and then the two guns in Rashid and Noor.
So if it comes to that, they might use a little bit from Tewatia as well.
Yeah, he's bowled. How many overs has he bowled?
Well, 1 or 2.
He's hardly bowled this season, yeah.
So they might use a little bit of Tewatia.
They may do.
A little bit of Shanaka.
Yeah.
Shanaka can give them 2 overs.
Yeah.
But it's good to see because later on in the tournament, suppose suddenly there's an injury, you give Shanaka a couple of games because he's a match winner in...
Well, also going, if they think about going to Chapok to play that first game, it's slow, it's low. He's a player that plays spin very, very well. And he's an international captain. He'll bowl a few little cutters for you with that seam up. Rather than going in with an Alzari Joseph, he's probably a better selection for a Chennai type surface. So that's maybe a reason for giving him a game now as well. Are they looking forward?
If you can see the team again, there is no Abhinav Manohar either. So is that a little bit of a surprise?
Yeah, who's the... because this is their batting side, so they don't need Abhinav Manohar.
No.
This is their batting lineup. So maybe they're trying to see Shanaka in that role. So once Shanaka gets into that role, you've got Tewatia and Rashid. You don't need Abhinav Manohar there.
Fair enough.
So, hang on. So once we get their subs, we'll get an idea of whether there will be another bowler in their subs. Because this is a batting lineup. There'll be another bowler in their subs. So okay.
we once we know the sub list, we'll get an update on that.
Jayant Yadav, maybe
you would get a bowler
spinner. Yeah, there'll be another bowler comes in for there. But it's a good looking. I like that side actually. And I mean, Dasun Shanaka just gives it a little more batting. lengthens that batting order just a touch, I think it's not bad.
And then Tewatia 7, Rashid 8. That's good enough.
Their
Even if
batting
10
really
sixes at
seems to
8.
be
Yeah.
going longer and longer. It does. But with Hyderabad, they have lots of things that they have to worry about because, we've chatted about this. It almost feels like everything on... They are like the quintessential paper tigers because everything on paper is great. It's almost like, this is the perfect team, but they've just not been able to
There's
convert it
one
on
thing
the
that
ground.
separates teams from others, and that is how do they close matches. And I think Sunrisers have, as Brian Lara said, you've got to be able to finish games. They've been in winning positions and lost 4 times.
Yeah.
Those 4 games, you convert 3 out of those, and you're sitting and laughing on this table. But it's the good sides that have the self-belief to close out key games, and they've not closed out key games.
And in tight competitions, that's what it comes down to. And you're either good enough to do it or your players have the wherewithal to do it. And you think back to last year, they were doing that on occasions with the bat in the second innings. With the bat, Markram played a huge part in that, but they just haven't been able to do that this year. And that's why they find themselves where they do.
We'll have a look at their playing 11 because Jansen's back in and Glenn Phillips sits out. So considering how well he was doing, it probably has to be...
Yeah, 1 innings and 1 failure. He was out very golden duck last game, and he got
But it was a
25 off
beautiful
7.
ball.
Yeah, great ball. 25 off 7 the game before. So Sanveer Singh, all-rounder, and now born in the same place as New Zealand leg spinner Inderbir Singh.
Born in Jalandhar. No, it's Amritsar.
No.
Jalandhar, Amritsar, one of those places.
Starts with L.
Ludhiana.
Correct. Well done.
Simon
well done.
factor of the day.
Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
The Simon factor.
Simon
Ludhiana.
factor of the day. But Simon, I just want to ask you, can we trust that this is the correct team considering Hyderabad the other day? I think they went ahead with the wrong team. What happened there?
I couldn't work it out. I honestly could not work out what was going on with Hyderabad the other day. They said there was one team and then gave us another team and then crossed someone out there was a whole lot going on. Someone got confused. Whether it was the manager that got confused or what happened, I don't know what it was.
Unless they were gaming situations and had 3 teams ready and the guy going out picked the wrong one.
Just picked the wrong bit of paper and gave it over. So, look, I mean, it's an interesting...
We'll have a look at the playing 11 again. Because,
Jansen and for Phillips. Interesting.
So this is their bowling team. Somebody will go out of this side. One of the Indian players will go out and an Indian batter will come in. So Anmol Preet will come into this side.
Yes.
And he's done well in the last couple of games for them. So it's good to see both Prab Simran and Anmol Preet.
Yes, he comes in at the top of the order, doesn't it? And Natarajan or...
Natarajan will go on.
Natarajan goes probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big story about Natarajan on Test debut. And he was laughingly telling people how much he had batted before. So he said, I was just not seeing the ball. It was coming too quickly at me. So Natarajan will go.
Are they seeing a bit more pace and bounce in this underbad surface? Maybe the reason for bringing Jansen into the side, big tall left armour, maybe ruffle some feathers with a bit more pace and bounce. So maybe they're seeing something there. They don't need Phillips as that all-rounder with a bit of a spin bowling option. They don't need him in the side, and they've gone with a little bit more pace. Because, to be fair, their Indian seam bowling attack has not been at its best.
No.
And that's been what Hyderabad have sort of built their title hopes on in years gone by.
And Umran Malik is just in the wrong postcode, or just a thank you to Umran Malik?
Yeah, look, it's a shame, isn't it? Because he burst onto the scene, he bowling really fast, but it just shows you when you look at this. I guess that is disappointment, and I think we've worded that correctly because I don't remember a match where Bhuvi has been absolute standard. He's been steady. That's a steady year for Bhuvi. It's not a standout year. It's a steady year for him by his terms, and so I don't. There's nothing that stands out for me from his year. Natarajan, disappointment. 9.25 hasn't really cracked it up front and at the death.
Took time coming in to the tournament. He's had a couple of good games, but you're absolutely right. He's not done. He's not done his role the way he thought he would.
And then Umran Malik, one game for Karthik Tyagi. It's a tough ask to judge him too much on that one game, but it was a poor game. And Umran Malik now being left out of the side, it just shows you that unless you are taking wickets, bowling fast does not matter because you're going to fetch. And you will travel the distance unless you get it right. So, I hope he's getting the right help. I hope he's getting the right work in between games. and he's not getting down on himself, because that's the easiest thing to do. When you burst onto the scene and everybody wants a piece of you, everybody wants Umran Malik, everybody wants him in their T20 side, everybody wants him in their 50 over side. All of a sudden, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread in India, and it just can get to you when things don't go your way, and all of a sudden you have the second season blues, and it can get to you mentally. So I hope he's getting the right advice. I hope the right people are talking to him, saying, listen, mate, we need to just work on a few things. We're not throwing you on the pile. You're still a massive part of our franchise moving forward. We just need to work on a couple of things.
Second season thing is interesting. I mean, he played a little bit third season, earlier season.
Yeah.
But when you come in, people don't actually know what to do with you. And so you're very successful. In the second season, people work you out, but you've never been worked out before.
Yeah.
So now you don't know what to do when they work you out. So a player's true skill lies in what he does in the third season. So next season, we'll discover if he's learned to bowl the Yorker, if he's got the outswinger going, and then you'll see whether he's got more than one way of getting you out.
Yes.
Well, there's one person who no one has really been able to work out. He's that one guy, when I just started earning money, I'd invested in the blue chip stock, and it made me a lot of money. My parents said, don't sell it, but kids don't listen to parents. I sold that stock, and then it went and hit the roof. And now I just hold my head saying I'm such an idiot. I think that's how Hyderabad feels, because there's Rashid, whose stock just goes on and on and on rising. We saw what he did the other day. We are seeing what his numbers are. This is from the last 2 seasons. 42 wickets in 2 seasons.
Yeah, but the interesting story with Rashid is Rashid wanted a certain amount of money, which I think they committed to Kane Williamson. And so they could not afford to pay that kind of salary to both. And so they thought they'd buy back Rashid. And Rashid was suddenly not on the shelves anymore to buy back at whatever price.
Yeah, I think he wanted a change as well. I think there was part of it that he was. It was a massive part of Tom Moody's sort of regime at Hyderabad, and I think he got along incredibly well with Tom, and I think that was a little part of it. He maybe felt that times were changing a little bit at Hyderabad, and he needed a change and a refresh, and boy, what a refresh it was. He's gone to a place, he's won a title first year. He's
It's a happy
unbelievably
franchise.
and you can see that in his body language. And then they get a mate for him as well. It's like having, like you can't buy one puppy, we'll get 2 puppies. We'll get Noor in as well, and so you two can.
Noor has grown.
Yeah, and how much has he grown?
Protege,
It's such a great story, those two.
You know what, Rashid's always spoken about how biryani was his favorite food. Clearly he's gone and had fafra and thepla, and he's enjoying it just as much. Well, Hyderabad, on the other hand, I think Rashid's got 42 wickets if you saw the graphics in his 2 seasons. Hyderabad spinners have managed only 37. So that's the comparison there.
Yeah, so who's been the Hyderabad spinner? Just Mayank Markande? But Markande's been going around and coming. So he's had a good season, but that's it. Washington Sundar has not exactly set the tournament alive. The poor kid is always getting injured. Then there's Abhishek Sharma, whose bowling has now virtually been given up for his batting. They bought Adil Rashid. Adil Rashid. But given the way the batting was structured, they could not play Adil Rashid more often. And with Markande doing okay, so there really is not a spinner in that lineup who they can turn to.
And that's why when you looked at that whole strategy around the auction time, I just don't know that they got it right. I know a lot of people sat back and thought, gee, they've assembled a great team. I just couldn't figure out for the life of me where that team was structured and what exactly they got some terrific players. They bought some very good players. I couldn't work out how they were all going to fit into the one team.
I had them
that
qualifying,
was my issue.
and I'll tell you why I had them qualifying.
Yeah.
Because I thought that Bhuvi in the power play, Natarajan at the death, Umran in the middle, if those 3 start to fire, then they can play Brook, Markram, Klaasen.
Yes.
So I thought I thought Mayank Agarwal would be good at the top.
Well,
Mayank, Abhishek and Tripathi. So it didn't work out. Something hasn't worked out for them.
It's a tough place to be in because that's a franchise that new coach who's never coached before, and it's not easy. I mean, he's going to be sitting there thinking, "Oh, have I got it right? What have?" And you've got a relatively outside of Murali, You've got Murali and
Dale
Simon Helmut, who have been there for quite some time. But Dale's a relatively new coach, and Brian's
Very
never
new coach.
coached. He had to go on a West Indies trip prior to the tournament to just sort of learn a little bit about the coaching structure. Yeah, he asked the West Indies board if he could go on the West Indies trip with the team, just to sit in and around the team, so he could sort of figure out a little bit about coaching, how things work. So, that's how little he had done prior to coming into this tournament.
Lara, the great player, very often would switch on a switch that was connected to himself. He'd switch it on and the genius would be on display. Now, for people like us, that doesn't happen. People like us have to be worked on, and you've got to make a lot of mistakes and then work your way through art. We are crafts people. We're not geniuses. So let's see if he gets there. Very interesting to see if they lose today.
Yes.
And if they finish bottom of the table. Very interesting to see what they do next year, because they're the kind of franchise, they'll just sweep it.
Yeah,
Sweep
they
out.
keep changing things around all the time. Well, there is somebody who, everyone at Cricbuzz laughs at me because I have this player list of...
Rahan is
people
not
who
playing
are-
today.
There's Shubman Gill playing today, who I really, really rate very highly. And he's just so beautiful to watch. I mean, anyone who loves cricket rates him highly. I feel, we were chatting about this in the green room, right, Simon, yes, he's had those 400 plus runs, but we were expecting him to have that breakout season, which he hasn't had.
Yeah, it's a similar season to last year at the moment for Shubbers, as we'll call him. But home has been good. So he's home and away is vastly different for him. So he's back in a place where he absolutely loves. He's thrived. Look at the strike rate and the average at home this year compared to being away games. So he struggled a little bit on the road, which is not unusual because you do get used to your own conditions at times. But he's still got an opportunity with this game at home and obviously one more game to finish off against Bangalore. He's still got a chance to get a 550, 600 run season. Yeah. He's 470.
He's 470, yeah.
470 now. So it's similar to last year. But I just thought he might set it alight a little more.
Yes.
I don't know whether I was expecting too much from him because I love him. I've been a fan since I first saw him. Maybe I was expecting too much, but now that he's an Indian player, an Indian, regular Indian player, I just thought we might see a little more from him in that category at the moment. But he's got 2 innings to post that 600.
He's got 2 plus maybe 2 more, maybe 3 more. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe 2 more. So he should aim to finish at 650.
Yeah.
If he finishes 650 run season, he's had a good season.
Well, we can see it every time he gets out. There's just so much. I mean, it's anger to himself, but it's almost like he's spoken about how his dad always tells him, even if you get a 90, try and make it a 150. His dad's never happy, even if he gets 100.
Somebody should pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, but I think his reactions have been that. He's been really upset every time he's gotten out, even when he's scored decent amount.
I think he feels like when I see him and watch him, he feels like he gets himself out more often than the opposition get him out. You don't see him too. I mean, if you go out there and you get an absolute beauty that pitches middle and leg and hits the top of off, you've been got out. He feels at times when he walks off, I've done something stupid. For a young man who's played a lot of cricket, that's a stupid shot. Or I've made the wrong decision there. And you can kind of see it in his face or in his own little demeanours. The disappointment, which is a good thing. And I love that because he continually looks to me like he just wants to be better. Hates all the greats. They hate getting out. They love time in the middle. They practice harder than most others. Yeah. And that's kind of the hallmarks of what great players do. They absolutely hate getting out and they hate getting themselves out. And that's the big thing.
All right, let's quickly have a look at the impact players list because we have it. We should, expect Yash Dayal to come in, hopefully, and Anmol Preet for Hyderabad, you all think?
Yeah, they have the option now because Gujarat are batting. In case it's sticking a little bit or whatever, then they have the option of getting Sai Kishore as the spinner in. Otherwise, Yash Dayal or Shivam Mavi, one of those two.
And
so they've got loads of options.
And of course,
that'll be Anmol Preet. It'll have to be because the only other person they can get in is, there's Nitish Reddy, there's Mayank Dagar. They can't get the overseas player in. Mayank Dagar is a spinner. There's no point getting him in. So that's cut and dry.
Okay, so it's maths that I don't understand. And
of course you do.
There's something else that I don't understand is the joy factor question. I'm trying to understand which I don't understand, which I struggle with
you'd
more. So we will have a look at the joy factor question of the day because Joy Bhattacharya is not here to take it away. So I will. Two cricketing legends made their test debut in the same match in 2004. A Cricbuzz panelist was the skipper of a side while another Cricbuzz expert opened the bowling for his team. Name both debutants.
Ooh. Wow.
Put the question again. Is it test debut in 2004?
Yeah.
Cricbuzz panelist was the captain of one of the sides.
Okay. So,
Not Dooley.
Sean Pollock.
Polly, could you?
That would be my guess straight away. Sean Pollock, captain in South Africa around about that time.
See, I know the answers, but I'm not allowed to tell you all the
I
answers.
don't know. Look, I'm just throwing it out there. That's a hint for some people.
I think I'm already tagged on Twitter, so I've got notifications.
Knowing
that people already answered.
knowing Joy, he might come up. When did Lisa retire? He might say maybe Lisa was captain. I think Lisa finished 3, no? When was the World Cup? She finished with the World Cup in
Yeah.
India.
Oath.
But knowing Joy, it'll be something like
Something
that.
else. It can't
No,
be
but
so
Polly,
Can't be too easy. Pommy never captained Zimbabwe, please.
You know, you spoke about Lisa, so Harsha, I have to tell you what happened yesterday. She was being what was the word? Feisty, that's the word you used.
feisty. Lisa is feisty.
She was being that feisty person, and there was a lot of sledging going on because when we got to the prediction game, Lisa was being her feisty self. So we should now do the prediction game because I've been scarred after yesterday's sledging. I'm not a cricketer, but I was just a lot of sledging went down in the prediction game.
I did a lot of the WPL games. I met a lot of the Aussie cricketers, and I said to them, "Sir, I'm working in the comm box with a couple of them," and I said, "Yeah, I'm friends with Lisa." I said, "How was she as a player?" To a person, they all use the same word: feisty.
Well, she
Okay.
was very feisty yesterday, but prediction game with our gentlemen on the panel today.
Where you go, Harsh? Go on.
You have some research material even on prediction games, Harsha.
No, Gujarat, 180. No, it's a heavy score. 192.
High scoring ground, isn't it? This year, a lot of sixes hit. I'm going to go above that. I'm going to go 203.
All right, so 192
What third?
203.
What's that?
I'm going to listen to the advice of the professor. I'm going to go with 210.
Ooh, you're going above, going high.
Yeah, going higher.
And you have your orange top on as
Yeah.
well. So I thought you would have gone really low being a Hyderabad fan today.
No, I'm always here for cricket. Always here for cricket. That's what I've learned. But my learning will continue in the green room. Like I said, I still need to understand the combinations and permutations. So I will be with my professors studying very carefully. So hopefully the next time I'm here, I'll be able to just be a little more intelligent when it comes to the points table. That's all for now. But don't forget to join us at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz com box.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad को 50 एक्सप्रेस
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন।